On the heels of the DHS expanding scrutiny now of those social media posts, it really forces us all to reconsider the role of big government, particularly when it comes to the NSA and that surveillance situation. I actually did a Facebook and Twitter poll earlier and asking if the U.S. should reestablish government authority and collect these phone records, this metadata without a warrant. John said that the method is a feel-good, do-nothing method that produces no results. Dan said never. They have only collecting and using it for anti-Republican political purposes. But Joe says totally usable tactic, leads to constant hurt feelings and political correctness. Now I want to bring it all to our panel. Heather Hansen, a trial attorney, Major General Bob Scales, Fox News military analyst, and Betsy Woodruff, the Daily Beast political reporter. Betsy, let me start with you because so far the poll, it's a very tight one. 61% say yes, we should do it. We're at war, and we should use all measures we can to win this war.
Well, the person whose opinion I think is most interesting on this question is Jim Sensenbrenner. He's a member of Congress from Wisconsin, and he wrote the Patriot Act. And actually, he was a strong supporter of ending this bulk metadata collection. And the argument he made to my colleague, Tim Mack, is that warehousing all this information doesn't actually make us safer. It's basically trusting it to an inefficient government bureaucracy, and having a massive amount of info is hard to go through, time-consuming, cumbersome, and was not particularly helpful for stopping terrorism. So coming from Jim Sensenbrenner, I think that's a really valuable point. Yeah,
you know, General Scales, I get the idea we don't want to warehouse it, but if you collect it, there's got to be ways, algorithms and all kinds of sophisticated methods for being able to, to use it. And by the way, we don't necessarily have to spend a lot of time listening, to somebody called Grandma in Philly. Go to the phone calls in Syria, go to the phone calls in Pakistan, go to the phone calls. We know where the hot spots are. We've got the technology. We're at war. What do you think?
Well, first of all, let's be very clear. As a military historian, the number one advantage that a counterterrorist campaign has is intelligence. Without overwhelming intelligence and anticipatory intelligence, every counterterrorism program will fail. And to the point about metadata, what's important to understand is that this program was pretty much in its infancy when it was terminated. New tools were coming online at NSA, new algorithms, new ways to parse this data, new ways to aggregate this data were beginning to be developed, so that it was in the process of becoming a useful tool sadly, at the very time when the program was terminated.
Heather?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that 100%. I think that we took it away before we could use the benefits. You look at now, health insurers are looking at all of your data to determine whether or not you're going to die early, and yet we can't have the government have that same opportunity. It is not totally illegal. The problem with it when it was taken away and it was ruled illegal this summer was that Congress had never actually intended for it to be as broad. I think right now Senator Cotton is contemplating a bill to bring it back, and I think if Congress decides that there are certain limits to it, it certainly would be legal to do within the confines of what they decide and they specifically state.
Betsy, I'll give you the last word, but to Heather's point, I think Google's got more information on me than any government agency ever could imagine.
Last word is former and current NSA officials told one of my colleagues that they weren't stressing out about the metadata program being canceled because it wasn't the most helpful tool that they had. They actually said they celebrated the fact that they don't have to deal with this cumbersome information anymore. That's just information that we're getting at the Daily Beast, of course. Obviously, other opinions matter, but based on our reporting, losing this program is not going to make us appreciably less safe.
Now, I can tell you right now, I think there's going to be a hue and cry for it from the American public. Let's give it one more shot. But thanks a lot. You all were fantastic. And